Good morning. I'm Dr. P. Trivikrama Rao, Department of General Surgery, Sri Lakshminarayan Medical Institute. Today we'll be discussing about the gallstones. They estimated that gallstones affect 10 to 15% of the population in Western societies. They are asymptomatic in majority of the cases. Gallstones can be divided into three main types. Cholesterol stones, cholesterol solid radiating crystalline appearance are 6% common, often solitary. Pigmented stones, both brown and black stones, mixed stones are multiple. Often they can be sludge-like. Cholesterol or mixed stones contain 51 to 99% pure cholesterol plus admixture of calcium salts, bile pigments, and phospholipids. These are the radio opaque gallstones. Only 10% will be the radio opaque. 90% will be the radiolucent only. This can be differentiated by renal stones while we take X-ray film, erect and lateral view. Pigment stone is a name used for the stone containing less than 30% cholesterol. There are two types, black and brown. Black stones are largely composed of insoluble bilirubin pigment polymer mixed with calcium phosphate and calcium bicarbonate. Overall, 20 to 30% of stones are black. The incidence rising with age. Black stones are associated with hemolysis, usually hereditary spherocytosis or sickle cell disease. For reasons that are unclear, the patients with cirrhosis have a higher incidence of pigmented stones. Brown stones contains calcium bilirubate, calcium palmirate, and calcium stearate, as well as cholesterol. Brown stones are rare in gallbladder. These are primary stones in CBD. They form in bile duct and are related to bile stasis and infected bile. Stone formation is related to the deconjugation of bilirubin glycerate by bacterial beta glucuronidase. Insoluble unconjugated bilirubate precipitates. Brown pigmented stones are also associated with the presence of foreign body within the bile duct, such as endoprocessus stents or parasites such as Chondrigus and Ascariasis. These are the pigmented stones showing the facets. These gallstones are common in fat, fertile, 40, and flatulent female, common in Western countries and North India. Now we talk about the pathogenesis of gallstones. Now, metabolically, cholesterol is synthesized in liver. Its solubility is determined by the relative concentration of cholesterol, bile salts, and lecithin. The altered levels of cholesterol, lecithin, and bile salts in bile reduces the miscellaneous concentration in the bile, leading to the precipitation of insoluble cholesterol, hence stone formation. This is a lithogenic bile. The normal ratio of bile salts and lecithin to cholesterol is 25:1. The ratio below 13:1 leads to precipitation of cholesterol. Insoluble cholesterol is within the soluble micelle, which is found by lecithin and bile salts. If cholesterol component increases, bile gets supersaturated and inadequate micelle makes insoluble cholesterol to undergo crystallization and cholesterol monohydrate stone formation. Some cholesterol remain as bilayer lipid vesicles which are soluble. A specific heat labile glycoprotein in bile reduces cholesterol monohydrate crystal formation in the vesicles and cause their aggregation. This is called as nucleation. Eventually, the precipitation and stone formation occurs by infection. Pancreatic fluid reflects into the CBD, causing conversion of toxic lecithin into the lecithin, which is also toxic, causes super saturated bile stasis, or altered enterohepatic circulation. Any condition which either increases the cholesterol secretion in the bile or reduces the bile salt concentration causes cholesterol salt formation. Other factors are old age, OCP pills, obesity, clofibrate may increase cholesterol secretion. Estrogen, ileal resection, and cholestyramine causes a bile salt concentration. The choledeoxycholic acid and also deoxycholic acid prevent the cholesterol formation by maintaining bile acid pool, reducing the cholesterol. It prevents cholesterol formed by maintaining the bile acid pool, reducing the cholesterol synthesis and secretion, converting the supersaturated bile into normal bile. The factors altering the cholesterol into the bile ratio. These are the now we will talk about the factors which alter the cholesterol to bile salt ratio. They are obesity, drugs like OCB pills or oral contraceptive pills, clofibrate, cholestyramine, ileal resection when there is an intestinal obstruction or something, or there are other causes for intestinal obstruction, and altered enterohepatic circulation, which mostly by the ileal resection. The other pathogens are infection and infestations. Bacteria like E. coli, Salmonella, and parasites like clonorchisis and Ascariasis are often associated. Moynihan aphorism, a gallstone is a tombstone erected to the memory of an organism itself. When there is an organism, it only manifests as a gallstone. And bile stasis occurs due to the estrogen therapy, pregnancy, vagotomy, and in patients who are on long-term intravenous fluids or total parenteral nutrition. Other pathogens are increased bile production due to any causes of hemolysis, as in hereditary spherocytosis, sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, malaria, cirrhosis. Here, pigmented stones are common. Rarely, center of stone contains radiolucent gas, which is either triradiant. It is we can see as a Mercedes-Benz sign. There is a and biradiant as a seagull sign. Here, it contains as a radiolucent gas when there is a opaque stone will be there. So this gas shows as a triradiant, which is Mercedes Benz sign, and biradiant is a seagull sign. Yeah, here we can know all the pathogenesis like altered GB function, where bile stasis may be there and poor emptying may be there, poor absorption and infections of the gallbladder. Like I said, Ascariasis and E. coli and Salmonella, and supersaturated bile, like supersaturated, like a female. I said now, five Fs: female, fertile, 40, and fat, everything, high calorie diet, and cholesterol nucleation factors. And here see this hemolytic diseases like thalassemia, sickle cell anemia, hereditary spherocytosis, malaria, everything. And altered enterohepatic circulations, like I said, ileal diseases and ileal resection, altered bowel and everything, all this. Sometimes the gallbladder may be filled with toothpaste-like material, which is a mixture of calcium, uh, which is a mixture of calcium. Please move this window. Sometimes gallbladder may be filled with a toothpaste-like material, which is a mixture of calcium carbonate and phosphate, which on plain X-ray shows like a opacified gallbladder, also called as ischemic gallbladder. Only 10% of the, as I said, that only 10% of gallstones are radio opaque, 90% are radiolucent only. See here, we can see the multiple gallstones in plain X-ray. Mirzi syndrome. This is a complication of gallstones. In Mirzi syndrome, gallstones impact in the gallbladder and compress it, gallstones in the gallbladder and compress it, causing the pressure necrosis, which further adherent to the CVD wall. It eventually causes compression and later occasionally leads into the cholecystocolidocal fistula. Here, the fistula is formed between the CBD and the cystic duct and gallbladder also. It occurs either from the Hartmann's pouch into CBD, which is very common, or from the fundus of the gallbladder into CBD. Mirzi syndrome is suspected on if Mirzi syndrome, CT scan has to be done, but usually identified on table, it's need cholecystectomy. On table cholangiogram and exploration of CBD is done. It often needs choledocojejunectomy. Partial cholecystectomy with the primary closure of CBD is done with the T-tube insertion through a separate choledocojejunectomy. Partial cholecystectomy with duodenal or jejunal anastomosis is done in type 4 and is done in only few centers only. Open approach is ideal for the Mirzi, even though laparoscopic approach is done in few centers. There are 4 types of Mirzi syndrome. Type 1, compression of the CBD without narrowing of CBD. And type 2, there is a compression and there is a CBD lumen narrowing. And type 3, compression causing the CBD wall necrosis. Hello? Solra? And in type 4, there will be choledocal fistula. See here, there are 2 figures. Here, see this is type 2 Mirzi syndrome. Here there is a compression and there is narrowing of CBD. And here this is a type 4 Mirzi syndrome. Here there is a necrosis of the wall and there is a fistula formation. This is type 4. The clinical presentation. Gallstones, 80% of the gallstones are asymptomatic. Typical complaint of right upper quadrant or epigastric pain, which may radiate to the back. The biliary colic is typically present in 10 to 25% of the patients. This is described as a severe right upper quadrant pain with ebbs and flows associated with nausea, vomiting. Pain may radiate to the chest. The pain is usually severe and may last for minutes or even several hours. Other symptoms like dyspepsia, flatulence, food intolerance, particularly for the fats, and some alteration in bowel frequency. The jaundice may result, the stone migrates from the gallstones and obstruct the common bile duct. Rarely a gallstone can lead to bowel obstruction, which is gallstone ileus. There are differential diagnoses for the acute cholecystitis, which are like when the gallstone is there, inflammation is formed. So this is acute cholecystitis. Which are these are the common differential diagnoses of acute cholecystitis: appendicitis, perforated peptic ulcer, and acute pancreatitis. The rare differential diagnoses are acute pyelonephritis, myocardial infarction, pneumonia, and this is right lower lobe pneumonia. Management wise, first we have to sterile the patient. After that, the ultrasound abdomen to confirm the diagnosis. Gallstones are seen with the posterior echo shadow. Here I have to differentiate in ultrasound. We have to differentiate gallstones and gallbladder polyp. The gallstones have a posterior acoustic shadow, and polyp won't have a shadow, acoustic shadow. And uh, while changing the position of the patient, the gallstone also changes its position, whereas the polyp won't have this feature. And sometimes uh, we can see the gallstones on plain X-ray abdomen, erect abdomen, and LFT should be done, in which we'll see all the total bilirubin, direct bilirubin, everything, which shows any obstruction or any obstructive jaundice symptoms when there is a fire, and the patient is having jaundice also, and total WBC counts to know whether there is infected foci is there, or to differentiate between the acute cholecystitis. Usually after the preoperative diagnosis and preoperative management, we can take the patient to surgery. Usually laparoscopic cholecystectomy is the ideal thing. It's now emerging as a robotic also. Most of the centers nowadays are doing only lap chole, and open cholecystectomy is done through through right subcostal Kocher's incision. Open approach is used if the patient is not fit for the surgery, either patient is having anesthesia complications or some age complications or something like that, or suppose if there is suspicion of having CBD stones or Mizzi syndrome or suspected carcinoma gallbladder. Here, few centers are doing laparoscopic cholecystectomy. Even there is a CA gallbladder, but according to the indications, it's an open thing where we have to resect. If suppose if the diagnosis is a CA gallbladder, then a part of liver has to be resected. I mean, the surrounding peri-coli area, everything we have to remove it. During laparoscopy, and if there is a laparoscopic cholecystectomy, if there is any on-table difficulty in dissection of Caller's triangle, Caller's triangle is formed by common hepatic duct and cystic duct and the base of liver, which contains cystic artery and lymph node of Lund. When there is a difficulty in dissecting this area, then conversion into open approach may be required. And this is and this is about the operative procedure, and dissolution therapy of asymptomatic cholesterol stones using ursodeoxycholic acid can be tried, but it's not very successful. Asymptomatic patients who doesn't want surgery, we can try with this ursodeoxycholic acid, that Udiliv 300 mg. We have to give for 6 months. After that also, if the patient is not, only some 10% of the asymptomatic patients have symptoms and who needs for surgery only. The type, now we'll talk a few words about acute cholecystitis. Okay, whenever this cholecystitis which is caused by a gallstone is a calculus cholecystitis. Okay, the symptoms of acute cholecystitis subside with the conservative measures. Non-operative treatment is based on 4 principles: nil per oral and intravenous fluid administration until the pain resolves, administration of analgesics, administration of antibiotics. As cystic duct is blocked in most instances, The concentration of antibiotic in serum is more important than its concentration in bile. A broad spectrum antibiotic effective against gram-negative aerobes is the most appropriate, such as ceftazoline, cefuroxime, and or ciprofloxacin. Subsequent management, when the temperatures, pulse, and other physical signs show that the inflammation is subsiding, then we can start the oral fluids and followed by regular diet. Ultrasonography is performed to confirm the diagnosis. If the jaundice is present, MRCP is performed to exclude cholecystolithiasis. When there is cholecystolithiasis, when there is cholecystolithiasis, ERCP is done, and the CBD stones have to be removed. If there is any concern regarding the diagnosis or presence of complications such as perforation, CD should be performed and cholecystectomy may be performed. The 2013 Tokyo guidelines allow assessment of severity in patients with grade 3 disease depending on the status of the patient, either operative intervention or either operative intervention and cholecystectomy should be performed, or if the patient has comorbid conditions, a percutaneous cholecystectomy can be performed by a radiologist under ultrasound control. This is usually rapidly relieving symptoms. However, an interval cholecystectomy will be performed once the patient's condition has stabilized. These are the Tokyo Consensus guidelines for severity grading of acute cholecystitis. The grade 1, which is a milder form, does not meet the criteria of grade 2 and grade 3 acute cholecystitis. Grade 1 can also be defined as acute cholecystitis in a healthy person with no organ dysfunction and mild inflammatory changes in the gallbladder, making cholecystectomy a safe and low risk operative procedure. And grade 2, which is a moderate acute cholecystitis associated with any of the following conditions: elevated white cell count, which is greater than 18,000, and palpable tender mass in the right upper abdomen quadrant, and duration of complaints greater than 72 hours or 3 days, and marked local inflammation, which is seen in gangrenous cholecystitis, cholecystic abscess, hepatic abscess, biliary peritonitis, emphysematous cholecystitis. And grade 3, which is severe acute cholecystitis associated with dysfunction of any one of the following organ systems. Cardiovascular system, there is a hypertension requiring treatment with dopamine or any dose of noradrenaline, and neurological dysfunction, decreased level of consciousness, and respiratory dysfunction as a partial pressure of oxygen and FiO2 ratio is less than 300, and renal dysfunction where there is oliguria and serum creatinine greater than 2. Hepatic dysfunction where prothrombin time is greater than 1.5, and hematological dysfunction also. Thank you.